Hey everyone, it's Night Horror here, and today we're going to talk about Ashes of Creation. So in this video, I'm re-recording the intro here because it went long, and I should have known it would. Just FYI, I'm going to kind of make some commentary over this video. In a separate video, I'm going to talk about the things on the forums that they were asking for feedback on. I'm going to give my thoughts on those things and some other things that I have feedback on. I give some in this video. But that'll be specifically for that. So we're going to watch through this and then we'll talk about it. And today we're going to be talking about the Ashes of Creation Freehold update. So this is this is the plan for Alpha 2. That's what this is being developed for. For those who don't know, if a game is in Alpha, what that means is that the game, like core mechanics and everything, is still subject to change. It could still be changed, still be modified, what have you. And then in betas typically are like, okay, we have the core parts of the game, we're just trying to refine it and make it a little bit better. Not everybody follows that, but that is, traditionally how those terms were used. So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at this video and then we'll talk about it.
Hello everyone, and we find ourselves now in the world of Vera once again.
And it looks really nice, doesn't it?
Bucky, I think you were talking a little bit about a freehold that you have nearby in the Riverlands here, or we're going to perhaps participate in some of your... What do you got on that freehold? What are you doing?
They're just hanging out by this tree. That's pretty fun. They're just like chilling.
So we got a lot of farming stuff, mainly is what we're focusing on, but we also have a artisan building as well.
Oh, nice.
As a forge station, because we got some good mining opportunities out here.
Okay,
so,
very cool.
I'll explain in a second what all's going on here for those who are brand new to this.
You kind of are close to these ruins with your freehold, I guess. Is there any happening spots around this area for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got some mob packs around here. Players are coming through here a lot to, obviously get the this nice resource here. We got some alacanite.
Is that why you formed your freehold near this precious resource? Talk to me a little bit about these.
Do you say alacanite? Is that like somebody's name? is that named after Alec? That would be funny. I'm down.
This resource, Corey and or Mike.
Oh yeah, that's so. This is halcyanite. It's a kind of a mid-tier journeyman gem.
That sounds more like a real element.
And yeah, it's just sort of something you would use in weapons and for decorations, nice. Jewelry. So it's pretty sought after for a lot of crafts. So it's pretty valuable.
I love just its look. I mean, it adds a really kind of magical blues to this area. Wow, this is a beautiful... Now, Bucky, I know why you made your freehold here. This is a beautiful view.
That looks like... I had to duck to get below my camera. That looks like Half Dome almost. That'd be cool. Half Dome is as a mountain in a national park in Yosemite. Is it Yosemite? Yosemite. I always get Yosemite and Yellowstone. Like I've been to both of them, I know them, but I always get them confused, which is in California.
Yep, just another beautiful day in Vera.
Oh my gosh. Do you ever get, like, afraid of heights here? I mean, this is kind of crazy. I think, actually, I might have something that could help you with this. Hold on. Let me see.
So, just kind of a background on what's going on here. So this is the freehold update, and what freeholds are, there's like 3 forms of housing, if I'm getting this correct. I've been trying to study up on what's going on in this game with, as it's in development. So if I get anything wrong, just, at me in the comments. You need to start the phrase with actually, though, please. Follow the rules. But anyways, freeholds are a form of player housing. There are instant houses like you might see in Elder Scrolls Online, where it's just your place, only people that you give permission to and stuff like that. I presume can go there and that kind of thing. Freeholds are actually open world, and it's not like they're not instants. They're just part of the world. So what you change in your area, your freehold, is seen in the open world. And the idea here is that there are reasons that other people might want to interact. We'll talk more about that as we kind of go along. But the reason they're starting here is because this is a location of interest. I assume sort of dungeon or something like that. Also, there are some resource nodes and stuff like that, which is the whole idea of a freehold. So freeholds, you'll be able to get them somehow. I think that is subject to probably change as as we're so far out. But certain people, not everybody, will be able to potentially get a freehold, and there might be some sort of bidding system or something like that. And then you build out your freehold and you do what you want with it. But the whole point is that it's near locations, or one thing that could be good to do is put it near a location of interest so people have a desire and an interest in coming by your freehold. They'll talk about this later, I think, but freeholds are where they are designing for refining and crafting and stuff like that. Freeholds are the places you'll want to go. At least currently in the game, they've said that they want that to be kind of like the best place to go to if you're harvesting and stuff like that. So kind of think of it as if you're in the U.S., like a homestead or something, right? Like you get a plot of land and you got to do something with it, and then it's kind of up to you.
I can just bring it up here, and then if you ever need to use it one day, feel free to. You're more than welcome.
Oh yes,
oh man,
beautiful, perfect.
I've been watching this on my phone. This drake looks really cool with the leaves for leaf-like wings. That's really cool.
Oh, it's even on theme for the fall weather.
I know,
my
exactly.
wife would
It's a
love
Drake
this.
of the Canopy.
Perfect.
Yeah, if you ever want to take him for a spin, just let me know.
Okay.
All right, but yeah.
Also, for those who don't know, most of us in the game will only be able to glide, which is really cool because we're up so high here, but you won't actually be able to strictly fly. Flying mounts where you can just take off are going to be limited to, like, I think they said like maybe 10 or 20 a server. It will depend obviously on what the player population is, but it's basically if you are somebody who is mayor of a town or something like that, will only those kind of people will be able to access it. So it's pretty cool.
There you go. Actually, I'll put him away. He's kind of afraid of heights himself.
Oh.
So I can mine this. So I've maxed out my artisanship levels through a little bit of a cheat, but if you have the tools and oops, do I have the tools? Okay, guys, you're seeing a little bit of a preview of some of the work in progress UI
Kind of want to just take a look at this for myself right now. I'll come
with
back.
the artisanship windows, and obviously you have a number of tools here that are possible. This UI, of course, is getting completely revamped. This is just kind of the wireframing for it. But talk to me a little bit about the tool setup. Why?
Yeah, that's something worth noting here. And this is still unclear to me. And I'm obviously not a game developer, but I look into this kind of stuff a lot and look at it and have friends and stuff like that. You will see stuff to like at various levels of polish, right? Like the open world looks really, really pretty, really amazing. I think part of the reason for that is this is an area that was in the first alpha, so it's the first thing they developed. And again, I think they've largely made this environment, this given climate and everything else, have done a lot of the assets for it. And then they're moving on and doing I think there's, I don't remember, 8+ or something different zones in the world that look kind of different. There's desert and some other stuff. And so I imagine some of those are barely started. Maybe they're not started at all. I don't know. But this one is mostly fleshed out. And then you'll see other things that are like you said, wireframing it. It's just like a placeholder or like, hey, we need something and we'll make it look pretty later. So just realize that. Similarly with the UI and stuff down here, don't read too much into that.
Why is it important to have these kind of tools? How do tools aid you in your gathering adventures?
Yeah, so each gathering profession will have 3 tools. The tools kind of come online as you progress through the profession, and the different resource types for each one of the profession may require different tools. So you basically want to carry around the right tool for the job, and tools along with artisanship gear will have stats on it, so you can itemize towards.
So cool. You're mining, you're seeing stuff actually like pop off. This is like the visual fidelity we can expect for games in the future. It really is
how
pretty
you
cool
want
to
to
me.
gather, how fast you want to gather. Yeah.
You actually like swing in multiple locations too. You don't just like swing in one spot. I'm mining. It's really cool, and that's not necessarily unique.
Oh, it looks great
to these
love
guys, but it's cool.
cool
to see.
The destruction of the actual like. Is it halcyon Halconite? What is
Halcyonite.
Halconite.
Yeah, halcyon. Yeah, I mean,
nice.
we sort of set the precedent with the trees, right? So we're trying to get.
I should ask my wife. She's a chemical engineer. She would know if that's a real thing or not. I'll have to ask her when she gets home.
Similar feelings that the trees bring with our other gatherables.
Yeah, it's looking great.
Now, where is your freehold
It's just over this hill here, off to the left of the path. I think you might be able to see my the house there with the chimney
that's cool.
smoke as well.
Okay.
Off there, see it?
Yeah, that looks good. How do
You know, as you level up your freehold, I know this from like different images, you can get like larger. There's like stages of buildings. I think up to level 3, like 3 stages of building, and they get like taller and stuff like that. I think that that's going to be super cool if you can like see it from a ways away, or if there was some other way of like, I don't know, like if you're in a more jungly environment, or there's more. I think there's going to be a part that's more like redwoods. Redwoods are those crazy huge trees in Northern California. For those who don't know, in Southern Oregon or whatever. I'm sorry if they're also in Washington, but anyways, that part of the country here, and it would be really cool if like you could do something like that, like grow one of those. It was a little bit out of place, but that still semi fit in with the environment, so that you can kind of like know where it's at. I just think that'd be really cool. Besides just being able to see houses, though, that's still cool.
Wait, let's get over there a little bit faster. Maybe we can.
Oh yeah.
What do we got?
If you had some way of like customizing it though, and doing something that still fit in with the world and looked good, but like was kind of unique to you, that would be really cool.
Oh, I don't think people have seen the Lightfoot yet. Let's bring him out. Oh, look at him! How cool is that?
Oh man!
Oh, he looks so good.
For those of you who don't know yet, I've made multiple shorts on this, but we have a bunch of rabbits. We're down to 2, but yeah, we love rabbits, and it's really cool to see. Most games don't do things like this. I think ESO is a little bit egregious about it, where there's like 2 body types. Maybe there's more, but it feels like there's. It feels like there's one, but it's cool that, and what I mean by that is like everything's just reskinned and it moves the same way. So it's really cool to see that not only is it, a different movement type, which we'll get to see here in a second. I'm sorry, maybe I'm stopping this too early. The other thing that is really cool about it is that they're different. Like each mount is going to have different properties. So they're going to say in a second, I think that this is like a faster mount. It's used for scouting and stuff like that. That's cool. There's also mounts that are made to be predominantly in water. There's some that are more amphibious, and they have different movement speeds in those different environments. So your land mount might still be able to move in the water, but a water mount will move super quickly, and you'll be able to traverse long distances in the water, as well as going under the water. And they have video of this. I'll cover that soon, I'm sure. But anyways, it's really cool. And then each mount too, and they solicit info from the community via Twitter and YouTube and other places. And the forums are probably the best place. They have their forums, which we'll look at after this. And they ask like, hey, what should be the special property of this thing? And it's just really cool. Like, I think it would be really cool if like your rabbit could like sense danger or something too. They got the big ears. If they like swiveled around and then they thump to tell you when there's danger to communicate with other rabbits, that would be something like that. I know I'm a crazy rabbit person, y'all, but I think that something like that would be really cool to have.
Good. I love the eyes.
It looks really good. It really does.
Super cool. Do we know who did this one? Was this Jinsey?
I believe it was a Jinsey, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, the hopping
Oh wow,
looks so
this
good.
guy's fast.
Yeah, it's high speed.
Oh, that looks
It's
so
a rabbit
good.
after all, you know.
The animation is just so on point. When they stop too, they kind of do some stuff.
It's so
Sorry,
cool.
I need to let the video play.
Wait,
It's
we
really
gotta slow
lit.
it
It's
down
really
a little
good.
bit. I can't approach at
Crazy
such
rabbit
fast
person.
pace to your freehold. That would be disrespectful. I apologize.
Yes,
Here
thank
we
you.
go.
Don't
That's
trample
Oh,
my
man,
plants,
the ears
please.
kind of like flopping
Oh,
in the wind.
perfect.
They don't really do that, but it
This
still
is
looks
great.
really
Supportive
good.
rabbits.
They do a little bit, but not
So,
that much.
what have you geared? It looks like, I mean, you don't have a lot of buildings on the freehold for yours, Bucky. Is that because you're kind of trying to utilize the land for farming and I know, of course, you are Dr. Bucky, so the animal husbandry system and like
That's
livestock.
right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So I sacrificed some of the space I could have used for buildings to just have more farm space, basically. So as you can see here, we got some sheeps, we got some cows and pigs, and we got some chickens back there, and we have a lot of space for different farmables. So we have
So they're going to go through and walk around and kind of introduce all the farming and stuff like that. And they've done. They'll talk more about the videos and the buildings and other videos, and they've done that stuff before. My thoughts on this are that as someone who grew up in a rural area, it's a little weird. It just should be bigger if it's a farm, so I would expect a larger footprint. I know that obviously it's a game, there are constraints and stuff like that. And then they talk about, the dichotomy of you have to choose between, having more buildings or having more farmland. That's just kind of weird to me, because when you think about farmland, the footprint you need is huge. Buildings doesn't need to be huge. And so trading the land the footprint 1-for-1 for a building versus a farm isn't ever going to make practical sense as far as how we observe and interact with the world. Obviously, it's a video game, so it's different, but that seems incongruous to me, and I don't know how they would fix that. My first thought would be like around the freehold to have more land that is dedicated to crops or something like that. Obviously, that presents a bunch of problems and might not work, but just the incongruity, that I guess that's my feedback, is that it's kind of weird that it's 1-for-1 crops or farming versus buildings, because that doesn't make sense. Also, the buildings seem designed for other people in a lot of ways. Like you can make a tavern where people might want to come to your inn and sleep to get XP boosts and other stuff like that. And there's ways of like leveling up. They've shown some UI, and they will later. I don't know how the animals then, if I get a freehold and my choices are making something for other people or making something just for myself, again, the dichotomy seems weird. I don't really understand it. I'm sure that there's some more thought into it, but at least right now, I don't understand.
Wheat here, corn, and then the tomatoes over there as well.
Oh, this looks great. So now, Mike, when we're talking about, these types,
I think I'm going to put this at like 1.5 speed. That's how I normally watch this kind of stuff anyways, and I'll just pause it as I need to.
of farmable spaces, obviously, as we discussed previously, the customization options for your freehold are really kind of up to you and what you want to delve into on the processing side of things and how you want to use the space. But players who want to participate in the farming, talk to me a little bit about that system. I mean, the intent, excuse me, to provide this open area space for people to utilize just growing different crop rotations and the livestock, and how does that feed the general processing system?
Yeah, so the farming is going to generally focus on growing crops like this and then dealing with livestock over there like that. But generally what you want to do is gather some seeds from either vendor, or in the world, you can find some seeds on the open content, and you're going to come to your freehold, plant them, and then depending on what kind of processing level you have and what kind of processing stations or buildings you might have, you might grow crops like a little faster, produce like better crop rotations, and just generally farm things that's unique to farming produce, like compared to in the open world.
Yeah.
So
I just got a bunch of wheat, by the way. I apologize, Bucky, on stealing your wheat.
Yeah, and that's the deal here. One of the things that they are going to implement is like families, in-game families, so you can give other people access and stuff like that can come harvest. I think that's awesome. For me, I don't like gathering, never gonna gather. I mean, I'll gather some, but like not something I do regularly or really enjoy. My wife just loves running around gathering stuff, and so for us to be able to share an area or to be able to both it could be really cool. I don't know if I would even want one. Obviously, that's kind of funny thing to say with a game that's years out, but yeah. Anyways, it's really cool that you can do that, and you can have multiple people who maybe have different interests that could share an area and potentially help run a freehold.
I got plenty. It's harvest season. Yeah, we got a big crop coming. I need some help getting all the harvest done.
Yeah, it looks super cool.
I also get that like the problem, like if these were like acres. Like basically the whole area that this freehold is in is what I think should be like one series of crops. But if you have to go through and like harvest by hand, that would be crazy. So I don't know.
Another cool thing about farming too, since it has the livestock, is that it kind of feeds directly into hunting and synergizes with animal husbandry. So if you're interested in raising animals, taming animals, farmers will have a use for them.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, animal husbandry has multiple lanes of ways to breed and specialize your creatures, and mounts and pets are one of the more popular ones.
I don't know, maybe the buildings that you would use for, it's kind of like a separate area over there. Maybe the buildings you would use for, refining materials and stuff like that are associated with more farming type things. And then if you don't go that farming route, you're more building things like a tavern or something. I guess that would make more sense. It's just weird to me. It almost seems like if you are if I have a freehold and I've got animal like livestock there, and I'm growing, vegetables or whatever, it almost seems like that makes sense to have that beside a tavern so that I can serve, Night Haro's fish fillet, or I guess fish doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever, Night Haro's breakfast or whatever, made with like fresh eggs from my farm, and it gives you a boost based on how well I take care of my animals and how well I farm. That would make sense to me, but that is combining the two things that they seem to have implied are two separate ways of going about managing a freehold. Again, this is alpha. They're totally changing this stuff up, but again, it just, to me, it's a little bit incongruous.
But then obviously livestock as well. So not only can you breed your animals for traits such as like movement speed and health and different combat stats, but you also be able to breed them for desirable traits like, fertility, increased harvesting yield, and even increased yield from butchering.
Okay. I mean, so get
doing?
more. So those are all quantitative things, getting more in number. I would like to see some qualitative things. Again, can I make a special, and they have this with Animal Husbandry System, right? And so I think they probably have plans for this, but you can make there's like a chicken pig you can find that they've put out the artwork for, because you can crossbreed animals, which is really fun and different. And so it would be cool though if those had specialty things. And again, and this is something I was going to suggest. I got kind of a list of things that I just want to throw out there. I think it would be really cool if in game on the different servers, if there was the best in slot food or something like that, if they got their names from that server and from different players. Maybe the first person to discover it, maybe the thing that becomes the most, widely used in some period of time, gets a special boost, and then anybody can make it. But then it's, and again, obviously not me, because I won't be doing this kind of stuff, but at least not that much of it. But, Night Harrow's pig chicken fillet, I don't know, whatever it happens to be. but something like that I think would be really cool. And you could be the first person on the server and forever immortalized. Obviously you got to control people's name. You don't want something named something stupid, but I think it could be cool.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
This makes it more comfortable with you taking their eggs away. So,
and I think that fits in with their overall design
they won't pick us if we
philosophy
come
as well.
with their style here.
Very nice, very nice. I just got some eggs. Okay, now, one of the other things that we wanted to obviously collect player feedback on, I'm going to open up the inventory just to kind of take a look at the materials resource bag. Talk to me a little bit about how we are implementing resources differently from your general item inventory.
So we're taking an approach from other games, but the idea of resources is going to have somewhat of a slot base. Instead of having a slot base like traditional MMO, we're going to look for a Tetris kind of idea of having different shapes and different stack sizes, kind of like that, to make some interesting choices out in the world, where you have to do inventory management and have a pick and choose depending on what you have available, what kind of bags you have.
Now, I seem to have kind of run out of space. Maybe I can grab... Do you have any...
Oh, yeah, if you want, you can come put some stuff in the chest in the house, or are your bags too small, or what's...
Yeah, no, I only have one bag. It's called a Sanctus Resource bag.
Oh, yeah, I got some extra bags for you, actually. You can take some from my chest.
Oh, this is a nicely decorated home here.
I don't know if they planned this. I don't know if this is all scripted out, but they did a good job if they did.
Oh, you have...
I got some thoughts on this. I'm going to let them talk about it first, and then we'll talk about it. This has apparently been a hot topic.
You have the... Oh, man, I can't remember what we called this, but this was for the pandemic. Everyone who, I think, registered prior to a certain date during the pandemic, Margaret will know, we granted this item to people, or will be granted to people. That's cool. It's modeled. Look at that. I think Ryan Richmond actually did the modeling for that, and then John Waynick did the implementation. Very cool. That looks awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Where's the chest I can grab?
Right here by the fireplace.
So this is still an alpha, and look how good all this furniture and everything looks. It looks real. It looks really good. This I didn't pause in the best picture.
Okay, sweet. Let me see here. Materials. Oh, okay. All right. So, what do I do here? Just grab this.
You just take them all and swap it out, I think.
I'll equip them. Okay, cool. I have some. Now, this is obviously work in progress.
That's really cool. Okay.
UI. This is not the final UI, but this kind of demonstrates the functionality of the system. Let me go over here. What can I do with these sheep?
So, this again has been a hot topic. First off, some people said, or there were some comments made kind of saying that they didn't like this in Tetris and it's like micromanagement. I think that he said somewhere else that, there will be an auto sort feature. So I think it's really cool that, you can only fit certain items. So just some broad topic things. No one wants to deal with micromanaging inventory all the time. It's not fun. Cool. Steven and his group all play these games. They all feel the same way. And I have 100% confidence that they're not going to let it be something that sucks, that is micromanaging. They're very against pay to win and pay for convenience and stuff like that. So it's not going to be like ESO where you have to pay for a crafting bag, which is really the only way to play the game. If you don't have a crafting bag and you're trying to do most things in the game, like it's so like it takes so much time and takes so much of the fun out of it, and it's clearly like, hey, you have to have a sub if you're really going to play this game. Feel about that how you will, but that's how it is, and that is against what Steven and his team want to go for. So I think honestly though that it's kind of cool. The idea is that you're limited because you might be limited on how things can stack in your bags, so you can't harvest everything. There is some management of like, okay, I go out and I went and got this thing, and I came back. Part of the reason for that, and part of the reason I think it's so good, or could be so good, we'll have to see, is because if I'm going out and I'm harvesting something, and there can be other people in the same area also harvesting different things, and we don't overlap, and it's not like annoying. And so then you can actually like you can want to be out in the open world and not be the only person there. And there's many other things I could say about it, but I just think it's cool. I also really like the bags and being able to upgrade your bags. In old school WoW back in the day, I actually liked that. It's a little bit, annoying. You start off, you have a really small bag, and like first thing is like, cool, I need some bigger bags. The way this is done in ESO is that you simply upgrade your current bags, and you go pay somebody, and you get 10 extra spots. There's nothing, it's very like, it's just a couple of menus and a couple of clicks. Even in old school WoW, like you had the physical bag and it had a UI that, I said had a physical bag. It made it feel like you had a physical bag. And it also made your upgrading feel good. And you got new kinds, and each update they would get larger and larger bags. And you needed someone who could craft, like was a clothing person to be able to do it, or you could do it yourself. And I like that. I thought it was really cool. The other thing that happens is that when someone's new, you got a friend who's coming and they're like, oh yeah, I just started playing. Or somebody who's new to your guild, they're like, oh yeah, I just got the game. You're like, okay, cool. Let's get you some bags. First you're going to need this. And like you make them, maybe you have some in the guild bank and you provide them for players, and it creates player interaction in a very positive way. And ESO, it's like, here's some gold, go upgrade your bags. We do that. I've done that. We've done trials where we like find someone who's new, we run them through a trial, we give them all the gear at the end, and then we give them some gold and like help them upgrade their bags and stuff like that. But it's not the same when you're like, here's some gold, go find the bag vendor. When you can like actually give someone a product and be like, hey, I made this for you, here you go, man. And I think that's really cool. And I like the idea of like there's being some sort of progression, as long as it's not tedious, like, oh, you can't do anything without an expert, the expert tier, herbalism bag or something. And I don't think there's any chance that that's going to happen. I also like that there's different kinds of bags, Could I have a bag that was, I'm not going to be gathering very much, so can I instead have some other sort of bag? And if someone who gathers a lot doesn't have the kind of bag that I have, I think that's cool. Maybe a monster swag bag. I don't know. But I like the idea, and I like what they're going for, and I really like this system. I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but I think some people didn't like this, and I don't quite understand why. I think probably because they don't fully understand what's going on, I guess.
You can harvest them for wool. Shoot them.
All right. This is not going to hurt them, is it?
No.
Oh, that's sweet.
Good job.
Oh,
Shooting
pretty
is
sheep.
Oh, you pet him.
Yeah, give me your wool.
Yeah.
Oh, it gave me some wool, and now it's naked.
he's
That's
bald.
so sad.
It'll grow back.
Oh, how so?
Fun animal fact, some kind of sheep, and I don't know this is because we've bred them, but it's good for them to be sheared. They need to be sheared because they'll just continually keep growing. I assume that's because we've done that to them, but yeah, shearing them is not a bad thing. It's not mean.
So perfect. That's a good point. So to
Those
grow back,
horns look
talk to me
so
a little
cool.
bit about kind of the intent behind the livestock here and the crops as well. Like you're planting and you're placing these livestock on farmable space within your freehold, and then over time they mature and become.
Man, these cows look really good. Those pigs look at the everything looks really good. Steven has said before that it is not graphics that make a game. He understands that. He said that it's mechanics, or I'm sorry, what did he say? Systems that make a game. Absolutely 1,000% correct, right? It's why you can play some old school games and they're still fun. Super Mario Brothers 3, I still get down on that. And there's plenty of old games that it's like, this is Tetris, right? It's not about graphics, it's about fun game design. And so they understand that, but also in the modern age, like, we do expect good graphics. We can get good graphics, and so they try to do that. So you should also realize that there are a lot of games with Unreal Engine, you can make things really pretty very easily, and so a lot of people do that to scam people. Just know that Ashes is not that. It is beautiful. There are some great artists that are working on this game. I think it would be cool if we could get some like fan created stuff, like some way of submitting it just for free and just being like, hey, I designed this, and if you do it in the right system or whatever, and be able to offer it to them, I think that'd be super cool. But yeah, just realize what's going on, and that he understands that core mechanics are the important part.
Processable, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. Certain things, like for the crops, for example, you need to acquire seeds first, which can be acquired through a number of ways. But once you plant them, you'll have to water them and care for them. And then after a certain point, depending on the crop,
it would be so cool if you could get like a rare seed that you had to do a quest or an adventure or like a dungeon for or something like that. That'd be really awesome. And like, especially if it was harder to get, or maybe you got several and you could make a hybrid crop. That would be super cool, where like both of them you had to go on some hard, difficult to do dungeon or raid or whatever to be able to get it. I hope they have stuff like that in the game.
Itself would be when you can harvest them, and then you can replant them at that point. And then for animals, different animals have different, sort of byproducts they can get. Like, so for example, from the cow, you can milk them and get some fresh milk.
Oh my god! But they have horns. Are these the right cows?
Oh, there's others. There's others down there.
Oh, okay, all right.
There's others.
Okay. Well, let's see. Oh, I got like a little stool. Wow, that's some rapid paced milking. Holy smokes! That was crazy. Hold on, let me make sure I got the milk. Oh, we did get the milk. Let me pull it down here.
Oh, that's really cool. You can see it pop in their back.
Pull some corn down as well.
Do some reorganization there.
Yeah, kind of just reorganizing things.
What's weird to me is that I don't want to hate on people that were concerned or whatever or freaked out. I'm sure they have some valid points, but it's weird to me because it seems like you've got plenty of room in your backs. So I don't understand what the issue with the backspace was.
Another sort of interesting thing that you'll see.
Somebody tell me down in the comments. One of you guys knows. Tell me down in the comments. I want to know. What's the issue? Because I'll probably be like, oh, I didn't think about that. So let me know down in the comments.
With livestock and other types of things that you can gather is you'll be able to kind of choose the things that you want to gather from it, right? Bucky had mentioned animal byproducts, right? And milk is a byproduct of a cow, and so is beef. So it's up to you, kind of how and when you want to harvest your livestock in certain ways. And same with plants. Maybe you want to take the corn, and maybe you want to cut down the entire corn plant to make room for other crops. And there's different byproducts depending on how you interact with that gatherable. So.
Now this is going to be another point of good player feedback. So one, we kind of talked to you and showed you guys a little bit of the systems for planting crops on your freehold, for raising livestock, collecting resources from them, and then the Tetris inventory type system. But this one is more game philosophy / immersion, right? And what you're going to see now, I think, for those of you who are a bit squeamish, if you want to turn away, understandable, but we're going to get some leather. And what else from this guy?
Meat.
Some meat.
Kind of whatever you'd expect from a pig.
Yep. Bacon.
All right. I apologize, little buddy.
All right. So turn away if you don't want to see this. I'm going to unpause.
You had a good long life.
You did have a good long life.
Happy life on the farm, and now.
Oh God, go to sleep.
Now.
Oh, we got the hide of the meat. But that's sad. Is it just sleeping? Is it tired? That was intense.
Yeah,
for sure. It's sleeping.
Yeah, don't worry. Let's go.
Nothing to see here.
Oh my
Sorry, little piglets.
Oh no, not the piglets.
Okay, we'll take good care of you.
No, let them live a.
I like these guys are nerds, and I love that. You ever talk to someone and you're like, you're a nerd like me. It's really cool that they're into like the RP, and they did it in other places too. It's really cool getting to see the game developers and getting to put a human face on them. I think all game companies should do this. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. On this, they actually they put up a poll. I don't remember exactly where. I know they did one on Twitter. I think they might have done one on YouTube as well about like, hey, how graphic and how real should this be and stuff like that. I think it's cool that they're soliciting community feedback. Obviously, there are some people that feel, all over the place about it. I think that for people like my wife, she's never going to want to do that. She's never going to want to kill one of these animals. She'll milk the cow, she'll shear the sheep, but she's not going to kill the pig for bacon. So she won't ever have to see that because she doesn't want to. As long as there's no way for people to grief you, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Also, the whole idea of, it being graphic is that's where our food comes from. That's what it's like. We do kill these animals. So even if you're someone who is into, animals or whatever, I think you could almost argue that everybody would want more realistic, right? Like some people just don't care because that's just life for them. And some people do care, but you don't want this process that to sanitize this process that actually is, there's a lot of blood involved with butchering animals. There's a lot of other things involved. So I feel like everybody would kind of almost not everybody obviously, but I feel like a lot of people would want towards more realism and a little bit more graphic. I do like that you pet the animals even if you're gonna have to kill them. It shows that you like them. That's cute.
A little bit of
One
life.
day you'll become big, and then we'll.
So, guys, that's a great point of player feedback. Talk to us a little bit about how real/immersive do you want it to be, or do you prefer that perhaps the pigs don't die, but rather they just go to sleep? That's a good question, I think, for a lot of people to give their thoughts on. Okay, so now we have. I'm seeing over here. There's another building. Obviously, we have the home here. We went inside a little bit. This other building. Talk to me a little bit about that. We talked.
Okay, so I think they've covered most of what they're going to do for the animal stuff. I just want to talk about this a little bit. And I said something. I watched the live streams of this kind of stuff, and there's a Discord. You can come jump in the Discord for Ashes of Creation and talk to them about it. So to just kind of talk about this I can easily see someone just wanting to play Farmville, wanting to play The Sims with this kind of stuff. These systems are really cool. I love how they're set up. I think a lot of people are going to want to do that. I hope, and I am hopeful that they will, and this is maybe feedback too, provide a way for people to be able to, who want to do that, to be able to do that, and also limit any sort of potential griefing that could happen. I think it's really cool. I would also note, and I said this in the live stream, someone's going to have their favorite cow. Betsy is going to be their just favorite cow, and they love Betsy to death. And, there might be life and death cycles in this because it's pretty realistic. And similarly with chickens and other stuff like that. And I just feel like I really want them to make a way that people can make Farmville and can kind of do what they want within the game, and that you can basically play an NPC within the game. I think that would be cool. I think if there was a way that someone could do that and have enjoyment and still interact with the community by selling, different, food or whatever, I think that would be super cool. I hope they do it. The other thing is that I really want them to do is, like, if you have your favorite cow, Betsy, and someone comes and attacks your freehold, okay? I don't care if they'd make it a quest, a mission, a special item you have to get, or whatever. I think there should be, so you can already save the layout of your freehold. So if it is destroyed, you can eventually one day be able to rebuild it and everything, your furniture as well, where everything is put in your house, you can save it so that you don't lose all that. Cause that would just be oh my gosh, that'd be so much work. You guys know about housing, right? In ESO. So, if you put everything everywhere and all of a sudden it's gone, you got to re-put it back out. So you can save it just like you can in ESO. And honestly, that's kind of like if you think that, hey, there's an add-on for this in most other games, Ashes of Creation is like integrating those things into the core game, which is what every company should be doing, and I'm glad they're doing it. I won't rant, but there should be some way of saving Betsy. Okay, your freehold gets taken, they burn down, or that the local area gets destroyed. Your whatever your freehold is attached to gets destroyed, and so therefore your freehold is destroyed. There should be some way of going on a quest afterwards to go like locate Betsy, who ran away. Right? Betsy didn't die. She ran away. The whole point of the freehold is like, people who destroy it and stuff like that can get your stuff, can get the stuff from your farm. But the idea is that it's digital, right? So as long as I have to spend enough time to recover Betsy, the same as it would take me to make another, to breed more cows, then there's nothing wrong with it doesn't mess up the game mechanics, and I just hope they do something like that. Again, make it a quest line, make it a special item that I have to get where it's repeatable, so I got to go get one for each one of my favorite animals so that then I know that they're safe. They should do something like that. In my opinion, I think it'd be really fun. I know I'm a crazy animal person at this point, but I'm really not. It's just I know that there are people that feel that way and will feel that way, and that's why I'm a heartless jerk. Don't worry.
Talked a little bit in the presentation about the profession buildings and them giving access to workstations. What do we have here?
So this is the artisan building that we talked about, and then these give general benefits to the freehold. It could be profession specific, it could be just general specific, but it also gives you like access to putting down stations like this. So this would be the metalworking station.
Oh, nice. Okay, and I see that this station's pretty intensive, and that's, I think, something we're going to be showing in a future stream, which is all about the crafting process and the recipe acquisition and the tools, but also a little bit of a gameplay layer that Corey, Mike, you guys have been working on with crafting in the future that we're going to show. But this one's all about processing. And talk to me a little bit about, we talked a little bit about what it takes to go into the fuel, to prep the station, to do the processed goods, and then kind of leaving and letting that process over time. Do you expect that players are going to want to like fully kit out their freeholds with the profession building so they have access to all the stations? What would be the benefit of that?
I think so, right? Like, if players are really interested in investing in processing, right? Freeholds are supposed to kind of give the players the furthest reach up to the highest tiers of processing. So, if you want to, allocate most of your space in your freehold for, processing buildings, processing stations, you could create like kind of your own processing plant or factory, and really sort of have a stranglehold on a market or particular goods. So the freehold is supposed to be free space for players to kind of do whatever they'd like. Decorate housing, have businesses, or create a processing empire. So
Cool, very cool. Well, I did get some some supplies. Whoops, I did get some supplies. Bucky, do you want me to like put this in the chest or anything, or?
Yeah, you can just empty out store it here in my chest for now, so you
These
can go out.
tomato plants?
Oh yeah, that's right. Just have to harvest these.
Oh, let's see. Get some other ones here. Very nice. Oh, some more exploded. Oh no.
You got some at least, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we're good.
Well,
All
editing
right, let me
there.
go put this inside. Wait, let me make sure I actually did get the tomatoes.
Probably got a full bag at this point almost.
Did I? Oh, I did get some tomatoes. Okay, there we go.
It's really cool. I like it.
I'm gonna put this in for you. Now, you've obviously done a great job with the decorations here on the furniture. And we don't intend furniture to obviously just be visual aspect of the interior, but functional as well. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so obviously we've seen here the chest, right? The chest is a placeable furniture prop that actually increases the storage capacity of your freehold property.
So everything he's doing right now, again, just remember, like, this item goes to small, but then it has like a little icon to show you that it takes 4 spaces. Just realize this is going to look better by the time it gets to live.
But we're going to have a variety of other functional furnitures, like besides just even the artisanship station.
And there's probably going to be like a button you can hit to do this, right? So you don't have to grab everything manually.
So, for example, we have a bed over here, which you'll be able to sleep in as well, get some rest experience, perhaps. Also, we'll have chairs. Those are just like kind of cosmetic you'll be able to sit in. And yeah, there'll be a variety of functional prop items as well.
They mentioned this on a couple of different places about the getting XP for being rested and stuff like that. Sure. The thing is that once you get to max level, it doesn't matter anymore, right? So I want them to do something else. I don't think that is necessarily the best use. I mean, sure, have that as a bonus or something, but I think there needs to be something else, because once you get to max level, it's not going to matter anymore. It'll be hugely important until it doesn't matter anymore at all.
Nice. That's awesome.
So it's kind of weird.
Let's see. I'm just putting all this stuff into your storage chest, so you have it.
Very nice.
I
Free labor.
I see you have some pictures in here as well.
Yep. That's the picture I commissioned to myself.
Oh, is this it? Is that you?
Yes.
It's actual
Me in armor.
It's actual Bucky.
What is going on? Oh god, that's
That's
hideous.
so great.
I think this is your favorite, Steven.
Yes,
Yep,
the sandals. Oh, that's
classic.
so awesome. That is super cool. Now, obviously, players that we talked a little bit about businesses and how players can kind of stand up different taverns and whatnot. And Bucky, you had stated like one of the reasons why you wanted to have your freehold here in this location was because of some of the access to the rare resources. But there's also some interesting hunting grounds nearby. And one of the things that is interesting about the freehold system is that it's not just architected for processing, but it can also be a profitable location based on where and what you're providing other players access to from a like drink and food tavern perspective, right?
Yeah, we mentioned it before, like there's business types of buildings that you can build. Some of these could be very region specific. Like if there was a hunting ground nearby that is very populated, we could set up a tavern, sell like food buffs and drinks that is really good for XP bonuses or increase to your loot chance or something like that. Whatever that may increase some kind of a benefit to the player that is good business, like I said, would be set up here where you could just take advantage of the populated player.
That's a really cool idea. So like what you could do is like, okay, we're meeting at this place, we're meeting at this freehold, and then we're going to go do this trial, this dungeon raid, whatever you want to call it. I think that's really cool. And it would be a place where like, hey, everybody get here. You got to get your food buffs and stuff like that. Afterwards, you could go there and process all your stuff. So when you're kind of chatting with people after a trial or after a raid, you could be chatting with them as you're like using all the different things in a freehold. And I think that's I think it's really cool and actually puts the the mass multiplayer in the MMO kind of thing, especially an MMORPG, because most of them are like you just do all that stuff solo, and it creates this natural interaction, and I think it's really cool. I will note one thing that just happened. So Steven just went out and he cut down this huge tree right beside the freehold. So these things grow back, and there are nodes for them, but you can't over-forest an area, you can't over-harvest an area, and it can cause problems. I think that could potentially be an issue. Also, you might want your freehold to look a certain way and it's kind of small. And then if people are able to like harvest right up to the border of your freehold, I don't know. I could see this. There could be a lot of griefing. There could never be trees near a freehold because everybody is always cutting them down. Maybe they're not the rare kind of trees. And so after a while, nobody wants to do it. But someone could still come by and grief and do that. Freeholds, they've gone back and forth about them being like non-PvP. The main thing is that there should be some safe place around the freehold. They're going to need a lot of tweaking on that, and right now, what they're suggesting, I can immediately see problems in ways you could cause problems. So, but I trust that they're, again, these are guys that play MMOs. They want this to be a really good MMO. Not that all gamers don't, but there's not a money person. Steven is the money person, so he's going to make sure that happens. I have faith in that, and that they're not going to, compromise something to make money or whatever. But I think they are going to have to do some tweaks to make it fun for everybody, and I think it's going to be an iterative process.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I have concerns, is what I'm saying.
That's super cool. I love it. And you were saying, obviously, having access to an open world where you're not necessarily restricted to the locations that you can place these freeholds, but allowing the players to kind of place them themselves. Obviously, we are going to block out certain areas that can't be placed, like certain road networks and POIs, but generally the intent is to provide these freeholds as layable plots in the open world. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So as long as you purchase a certificate from the owning node of the land, you'll be able to place it in many places around the node, like just basically anywhere that's not like a dungeon or a point of interest with monsters. You'll be able to place it in a lot of areas. So players have a lot of freedom in choosing where they want to build their freehold, lay down their plot. So it'll be a big, like obviously here, like you said, I was looking at we got the mines over there, we got the point of interest, but we also have this large flat area for a lot of farming, and so it's kind of a good mix for this freehold.
Yeah, super cool. Love it. Buck, you have a very cool freehold.
That's really cool. A lot of people have questions about stuff like how, like I see the same question popping up, like how are you going to prevent people from just having it optimized? Like the people that are playing the alphas and betas, are they not going to have the game already solved and have it optimized? And I think that, like, sure, there will be some of that, I guess. But the idea is that it's up to you to do what you want, and players are going to make different choices. The nodes that grow up are going to grow up in different places, just because that's just naturally how things are going to happen. And so you are going to have some variance. And then when people can place a freehold, they might choose to place it in a different place. If one community decides that they're placing theirs by some resource like this ore, it will probably make sense for you to place yours not by that same ore, even if it's located in your area as well. Like I'm imagining two that are very far apart. You might want to specialize in something else, because otherwise you just flood the market. And so I think that's how the organic growth and difference in the various areas is going to happen. I think there's a lot of questions about that, but I think once you understand the systems, you kind of realize that that's probably not. There's going to be some issues, but with different things, but I don't think that's going to be one of them.
I think I'm getting a little bit tired. Can I mind if I just take a little nap?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, it's a great bed. You'll get some rested experience. It'll be perfect.
I was concerned a little bit with the nearby enemy populations. Perhaps maybe you guys can keep watch over me as I go to sleep.
Oh yeah, for sure. Don't worry, you'll be safe. We'll set the guard.
Well, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this brief look at Bucky's Freehold. A little bit about the.
I just want to say one more thing about how good this looks. This is what a new game engine, and Unreal is Unreal. This is what a new game engine can do as far as lighting and everything else. And this game is still years away from being released. So even, a lot of people are like, this is, there's wild opinions where this is going to be the savior of all MMOs, or like, it's going to be disappointing. It's never going to be that, or whatever. I'm somewhere in the middle. The thing is that one of the things that I think is fairly certain to happen, assuming Ashes of Creation releases, and I have no doubt that it will, honestly, but it's still something could happen. The thing is that it's a new game system, so you're going to have better fidelity. You're going to have better systems, right? We just saw that, like, okay, it's not just hacking with an axe. It's doing multiple different things. There's particle effects with, you're hitting the ore stuff as chips are flying off and whatever. You look at the furniture, you look how good it looks. You look how much of it there already is in the game and that you can place and everything else. It's just, even if it just upgrades what we already have, I think it's going to be an awesome game and one we want to play, right? Game companies don't want to remake a game that's expensive. They would rather make it once and continually charge you forever and then never actually do much upgrades. Steven has actually pointed this out in one of his videos or live streams or something. Most games, we're live service games. And then he's like, oh, okay, cool. How much do you spend on your live service then on improving player, stuff? And it's like, oh yeah, not very much. They made the game. They're just continually charging you for it. They're not actually providing a live service. And but they're saying they are. So anyways, I don't think we're going to have that problem in Ashes, but even if even if everything is the same, just the upgrade in graphics, the upgrade in systems that can be done and can be done for a reasonable price, I think are going to make it worth it.
Processing for livestock as well as crops, and take a look at the new mount, some of the resources that are placed around the Riverlands area, and also a little look at the housing system with some of the furniture that you have access to kind of use and provide a little bit of benefit that you have access to for your gameplay. And with that being said, I think we'll wish you all adieu and a good night.
Cool. I think that this has gone long enough, so I think we're going to call it here. I'm going to follow up in a second video, kind of talk about the feedback and just condense my thoughts on this. So anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.